Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2019 DC animated film Justice League versus the Fatal Five. And this has got quite a few familiar voices in here. We've got Kevin Conroy as Batman, we've got George Newborn as Superman, we have Diane Guerrero as Jessica Cruz / Green Lantern, and quite a few others, and this is chock full of all sorts of characters that you like. We have Starboy in here, you've got Wonder Woman, you've got Miss Martian, Mr. Terrific, Brainiac, Five, Tharok, Bloodsport, the Persuader, Saturn Girl, loads and loads of characters that you're familiar with and some that you maybe not be as familiar with. And this is a Justice League story, and it focuses on, it's like a time travel Justice League story, and initially it's set in the future, and the future has its own version of like the Justice League, and they are fighting the Fatal Five, or well at this point it's the Fatal Three, and some time travelling takes place, and Starboy, who's in the future, manages to jump on board like his time travel thing, with these Fatal Three there at this point, to go back to our present day. But when he gets back there, Starboy, he loses his memory and stuff. He needs some specific medications, otherwise he loses his mind a little bit, and he doesn't have them. He can't source that medication in our time, so he ends up getting locked up in Arkham. Nobody believes who he is and what he's doing, all that kind of stuff. And then this Fatal Three attack, and they are after Jessica Cruz, who is the female version of Green Lantern at this point, and they need her lantern powers in order to release the other two of the Fatal Five. However, Jessica Cruz is a very vulnerable young lady who, when she was human, had something traumatic happen with her, and she doesn't believe she's worthy of being a Green Lantern, and she doesn't want any part of the Justice League at the start of the film. But she's got to step up to the plate basically as the film progresses and show what she's capable of, otherwise this Fatal Five is going to destroy our world as well as any kind of world in the future, and hopefully Starboy can help the current Justice League take down these very, very powerful enemies. So that's kind of basic gist here without spoiling too much of what this story is about. Now, I've reviewed a decent amount of the DC animated films on this channel. I actually really quite like them, generally speaking. I think sometimes they really knock it out of the park, and they can do films that can stand up next to any live action DC film, in my opinion. I'm talking about The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, and Death of Superman, and Under the Red Hood, all that kind of really brilliant DC animated films, in my opinion, then. And some of them are just watchable, and this is somewhere in between. I actually really quite enjoyed this up to a point. It was a really cool story with some really interesting characters. I mean, even though you get Superman and Batman in this story, and they do have reasonably large parts in this, the main characters here are Starboy and Jessica Cruz / Green Lantern. It's really their story. And I loved the Fatal Five villains, all five of them. I mean, there were three of them initially, and all of them were really incredibly powerful. One of them even manages to injure Superman with this like axe he's got. It's so finely sharpened it cuts Superman, and that was really good, because you can see that, you know, if they can hurt Superman, these are going to take some stopping, and they absolutely do take some stopping. I really like these villains. They were like, all five of them were very powerful in their own right, and they really struggled to take these villains down, and I really like that. You felt like there was a real threat in this film for the Justice League. And at the core of it is a very vulnerable young lady, Jessica Cruz, playing the Green Lantern, who, like I say, does not feel she's in any way, shape or form deserving of carrying this Green Lantern ring and being a Green Lantern. So it was a really well written, really well thought out story that was delivered really well, in my opinion. I wasn't overly keen on the animation style. It felt a bit too old-fashioned and a bit, some may describe it as retro. I'm not really sure how you would describe it. I more prefer a bit more modern in regards to the animation techniques used. It felt a bit more like the animated series in the 90s for both Superman and Batman. It felt a little bit more like that. Now that might be brilliant for some people, it might be really familiar. I found it a little bit old-fashioned, the animation style, but I'm not going to lie, I thoroughly enjoyed the story here. I was completely engrossed throughout. Everybody manages to shine. Sometimes in films like this there's so many characters, you know, some of them don't get an awful lot to do, but I was really pleased that they focused on characters here that we weren't really that aware of. So I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I thought it was enjoyable, so I will see you next time on Screen Stars, and thank you very much for watching.